I love a good sports movie. Most of them are pretty cheesy, but they can range from forgettably bland to genuinely entertaining and even classic cinema. Then there's the bunch that actually fall into the category of so bad, they're good. Which begs the question, what is the worst sports movie of all time? What is the best? I've decided to take a look and make a definitive ranking for the sports movies of the world. This is a new segment I'm calling Sports and Movies. S&M. Nope. This is Sports Movie Madness.
The two things that people tell you never to put in your films is animals and children. Well, I would say you should add singing, dancing, and hockey to that.
Score, a hockey musical, is a load of dog doo, and it's kind of amazing. It's a 2010 hockey movie musical written and directed by Michael McGowan.
There aren't too many hockey movies to choose from to begin with. Even fewer are any good. Even the popular ones, if we're being honest, aren't really that great movies. The highest rated hockey movie of all time on Rotten Tomatoes is rightfully Slapshot. You know what's second? Goon. I understand that Goon has its audience, but if that's the second best movie your sport has to offer, you're in a lot of trouble. I mean, if you just Google hockey movies, there are maybe 4 worth watching on like the first list of results. The Love Guru is on this list, which, how? But then on the third page, there's Score, a hockey musical. I mean, that's new. Gotta be honest, the sports movie musical market is pretty barren outside of Damn Yankees, and that was from the 60s. There was that Rocky Broadway musical that came out a few years ago that no one saw, but we can just assume that sucked. Look, I majored in sports communication in college. I minored in theater. This should be up my alley. But if you look at the plot keywords on IMDb, you get, in order, hockey, cellist, hockey again, and vomiting. Oh no. You gotta love some real hot and relevant names are attached to this project, like Olivia Newton-John. There's also Noah Reid, longtime voice of Franklin the Turtle. Mark Jordan, Canadian recording artist and producer who wrote songs for Rod Stewart and for Cher. You can tell he's really excited to be here.
You'd only do it if Olivia would do it?
Yeah.
And the final credit is given to pop star Nelly Furtado, who in 2010 was right in the middle of her exit from relevance. If you can believe it, this movie was actually nominated for 3 different Canadian Film Awards, including Best Actor for Reid and Best Direction from the Directors Guild of Canada. It also opened the Toronto International Film Festival, which one critic called embarrassing. Most reactions were lukewarm at best, admitting that it was nothing special, just kind of an easy time killer, which, that's how we mark good movies, right? By whether or not they effectively waste our precious limited time on Earth and deliver us a few hours closer to the sweet release of death. But death would be preferable to watching this again. Nothing works!
The plot is so contrived, it's like a Hallmark movie. I've seen better acting in community theater. The music is, I'm not joking, I'm not being funny, the worst I've ever seen in any musical, movie or not, ever. Ever. And to top it all off, this movie looks so damn cheap. The sets are cramped. The choreography is amateur. This movie is garbage. And it's hilarious. And since it's not American, there's very little chance that you can run out to Best Buy or something and get a copy so you can see it for yourself, which is a travesty.
So allow me to take you point by point to show you why this movie is so bad. Let's begin.
We open with...
Oh, Canada.
Oh, God. Yes! Canadians like hockey. Thank you for this revelatory and powerful montage of hockey existing. We see a group of people playing pond hockey on what has to be the smallest playing surface in Canada. I think knock hockey tables have more room to move. This is Farley Gordon, a name so oozing in Canada juice, he might as well be named Mountie McSyrup Poutine. He scores an impressive goal with no goalie, so impressiveness immediately revoked, and we get the title of the movie.
Just in case you walked in to Score, a hockey musical, not understanding the many nuances of the title.
Hey,
all about? There's no need for violence, especially when playing sports.
Rumor has it you're supposed to be pretty good.
I wouldn't know anything about rumors. He's homeschooled. He lives kind of a sheltered life.
Shut your mouth, marginal member societies.
Strap in, folks. This is the writing we are saddled with for the entire movie.
He challenges him to a game of one-on-one, first to 10.
But there's no goalie. This sounds like this would be over in 2 minutes. At least in D2, they had the sense to make it a game of 3 bar so that there was some semblance of skill involved. We're not even 5 minutes in and you're already making less sense than a movie that has 2 minutes for roping.
This is our first taste of the music, though. It sounds like royalty-free music you can get off YouTube. And oh boy, this is your first sample of our vocal prowess. Where did they find these guys? I'd rather clean my eardrum with a switchblade than hear these punks.
Are we supposed to believe that baloney?
You'd be lucky to drive a Zamboni.
Seriously, I know what I'm talking about. I know there's a 50 you better pay out.
Next we meet Eve, the literal girl next door, played by Ally McDonald.
Marco is a virtuoso who just arrived from Milan. I've never heard anyone play so well. It makes me feel like taking my mother's advice and signing up for medical school when I hear someone that talented.
And cut. All right, that was a good first read, but now that you know the line and the context of the scene that we're in, we're going to try something different for this next take. We're going to try acting.
You can't let your dream of making the symphony die just because some hotshot from Italy comes into your backyard with some fancy moves.
Listen to you with your sports metaphors. For a second there, I almost thought you were a jock.
That's as much a sports metaphor as you are a credible actress.
Eve and I have known each other since we were 2.
Our parents met at a fundraiser for Desmond Tutu.
Okay, now, I know we all had Desmond Tutu on our lyrical bingo board, so just go ahead and cross that off. Got one more to go.
When I was 5, I threw up on her colony events.
Getting closer.
We're best friends through thick and thin. Both homeschooled weirdos that could never fit in.
See, here's perhaps the biggest fundamental failure of the movie from a plot standpoint. It's never established that Farley is a weirdo. We're told it, but never shown it. His parents sing hippie songs and his dad wears bow ties. I guess that's quirky, but it hardly makes him Quasimodo. Farley is a decent-looking hockey god with a group of friends that he regularly plays with. He doesn't look weird, act weird, say anything weird. So why can't he fit in? We live in a time where the best player in the world looks like this. Hell, even Eve, who isn't really seen with anyone else in the movie, is pretty and a musician. Surely some cocksure trumpet player in the school band has attempted hitting on her like,
"Hey baby, you wanna buzz on my mouthpiece a while?" I'm sorry, that was gross, but like, you understand what I mean, right? It fails to set up the central conflict of the story of Farley not fitting in with his hockey team. For two antisocial weirdos, they're both written way too normal and bland.
Olivia Newton-John and Mark Jordan play Farley's parents. The movie cares so little it doesn't even bother making Olivia shed her Aussie accent.
Из Флориды, там немецо.
Представь себе.
А вообще звучит прикольно.
Ты знаешь русский?
Еще бы. Это путешествие будет превосходной возможностью усилить мое знание идиомов.
Did I have a stroke? Seriously, did I have a stroke? Why are they speaking Russian? How do they not know he speaks Russian if he's homeschooled? Why is this trip to Chechnya never brought up again? We're 10 minutes into this movie and it's already giving me an aneurysm.
But I think it needs to be said.
Too much hockey's not good for the head.
Wait, is this movie based on the NHL concussion lawsuit? Guess there's a big tonal shift at the halfway point when Farley dies from CTE.
Look at the temperature, it's colder than Venus. You'll get frostbite on your face.
Oh.
Hey, Pumba, not in front of the kids.
Oh, sorry.
You know what I'm realizing? This is improv. I mean, it has to be, right? That would explain why none of the songs have a concrete melody. The rhythms change on a dime. None of the singers' tracks are in sync. Wayne Brady and Brad Sherwood made up duets that sounded more rehearsed than this musical diarrhea. Even the crew thought it sucked.
Mike is, he's got good intuition. He's got, horrible pentameter.
Tell him he sucks.
Tell him he sucks.
We are literally just over 9 minutes into this movie, and we've already established that the singers can't sing, the writer can't write, the composer has never heard a song before in his life, and the actors were clearly found on a first-come, first-served basis. Oh, and that they don't believe in second takes, or direction, or anything of quality in this award-winning movie!
So, Elaine's psychologist boyfriend from Seinfeld is the owner of the Brampton Blades hockey team. Junior? Bantam? Minor league? Never explained, who cares? He sees Farley dangle his friends and wants to sign him.
So, who do you play for?
Nobody. Never have.
What? Why not?
My parents don't believe in team competitions.
What are they, communists?
Enjoyed this character. He's one of few in this movie who are actually worth a laugh, even if he is doing his worst Liam Neeson impression.
This conversation just laid a giant turd in the shallow end of the stupid pool.
Brian, can you stick to the script and not think out loud during the scene? Would you rather we do a second take? Never mind, we'll work around it. We get to song sequence number 900 at the 14-minute mark at some unknown location that randomly has a mask. I guess it's a museum, but there's nothing else there. Jesus, it's like they snuck in and had to finish filming before anyone realized they were there. Oh, and Eve can't sing either.
Yeah, I'm 17, I might like it a lot.
Yeah, you're 17, you probably like it a lot. And we're doing so we can advance the plot.
Forget improv. This movie was a bet. A bet to see if anyone would go see a Canadian hockey musical gag movie. They didn't.
Okay, I gotta move this along. So Farley hops on the ice without a jersey or pads. No one seems to know he was signed. The coach calls him a queer a couple times and tells him to get dressed. Charming.
Is that right?
Not unless you're a dick face.
This movie is an assassination of comedy.
So he's given a different jersey for some reason and told to run 1-on-2s. Of course, he actually does well until he meets the Moose, who knocks him out cold.
Boom, boom, boom. Out go the lights.
We totally concussed a kid. The Jack Adams Award awaits!
I love the camera work in this scene, don't you? Just awkward bumbling from person to person. This is how you frame a shot, kids. This cost money.
Doesn't Mr. Acorn's opinion count for anything? I mean, obviously he saw something in me that he thought worth giving a shot.
He's legally blind without his glasses.
No way.
Yeah.
Now here's a funny setup. It turns out that the owner of the team is legally blind and can't see anything without his glasses. So even though Farley is actually good, his recommendation is meaningless. This would be funny if, like, we saw him stumbling around or not making eye contact with anyone before, but it just kind of comes out of nowhere.
How long have you owned a dog?
And here, he mistakes the stuffed bear for a dog, but there's a dog in the background. So the question isn't that funny. If you're gonna make a joke, why not say, boy, your dog is so soft? Or, better yet, don't have a dog at all in the shot and keep the line the exact same way so he thinks he has a dog when he doesn't. That would have been a well-executed joke.
But no, nothing was given a proofread in this shit.
Farley's first game arrives, and the team gets scared of a mouse. Where's John Tortorella when you need him? A dude in an obviously redone Capitals jersey skates over and...
Yeah! Jesus.
Hit him high! Hit him low! Make him such a soprano!
What?
The boys are letting off steam. They're not hurting anyone. Jab, jab, hook, hook, hitting punch. Jab, jab, hook, hook, hitting punch. Jab, jab, hook, hook, hitting punch. Jab, jab, jersey pull, hitting punch.
So that happened.
Farley takes the opening face-off and...
Even my rectal cheese rough.
Who wrote this?
Farley scores, Nelly Furtado does this, and the Blades win. So Farley makes the team. His family sings a 60-second song. No, seriously, 60 seconds, barely longer than a ringtone. But Eve feels that Farley may be getting too wrapped up in hockey. Did we miss a scene? I feel like we missed a scene. Because literally 3 minutes ago, Farley skips practice to volunteer at a soup kitchen with Eve. Yes, that's a real conversation they have, and are they floating? Are they floating? Christ almighty, what is this movie? The team has another campy song sequence. They fart and piss together, he gets a tattoo, whatever. He gets approached by some marketers while Eve goes skating with...
Eve.
Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you?
Farley catches Eve with the third Mario brother, and they have a confrontation.
Marco, this is Farley. Farley, Marco.
Ah, yes, the ragazzo. The Italian.
Well, that went nowhere. Okay, next scene. Eve wants to talk to Farley about it, and...
You and Marco looked really great together.
He's not my type.
And that goes nowhere too. Okay, you know what, movie? Have a point. Just have a point. Do something with yourself. You hear me? Do something.
Can you believe it? It's pretty tasteful.
Go back to the nothing. Bring Waluigi back. Sing more ringtones. Anything else.
At least we get more Moose. He's by far the best character in this thing. If more performances were like his, I would have much fewer problems. He starts a line brawl, and Farley, approached by the opposing goalie, turtles. This doesn't sit well with his team or fans.
Forgive me for asking, for not seeing the light. But what's so shameful about not wanting to fight?
I'm with Drake McMoose-Bacon on this one. Fighting is dumb. Don't at me. There are plenty of hockey players out there who have either never fought or get absolutely waxed in doing so I don't see what the issue is.
Moose sings a song called The Code, admittedly my favorite sequence in the entire movie. It's got energy, choreography, kind of. The harmonies are tight, and it even has a melody, unlike the other schlock churned out in this movie.
But again, here is where this movie's ultimate potential is squandered.
Roller on ice, I am, I won't lie, but away from the rink, I'm a sensitive guy. I'm not afraid to show a feminine side. In fact, during the Notebook, I cried.
Twice is pathetic.
Moose confesses to being someone other than who he is on the ice, but he abides by the code of hockey for the sake of his teammates.
I repeat, a tough guy admits to having a secret sensitivity, but keeps it concealed because it isn't considered socially acceptable. It's almost like he's, in accordance with convention? No, that's not it. It's, staying with the norm?
Here's the difference between this song and Stick to the Status Quo from High School Musical. That scene was in a big cafeteria. There are levels, bright colors, sharp movements, and room to maneuver. This song takes place in a cramped, dark locker room that probably should have been moved to a different location, or a locker room set with more space. The camera sticks to this one position for virtually the whole song, and these flips and stuff aren't given proper focus because everything is so squished. There's both too much going on in this shot and too little. They change costumes mid-song. Why couldn't they have found an empty gym or something to finish it out? These two movies had the exact same budget, but there's such a drastic disparity in production value, it's absurd. Oh, and the choreography isn't sharp enough. One dude is just off in the corner because there isn't enough space. He doesn't lift his arm in time, but yeah, you keep going with those one takes, guys. What should have been an impressive and funny scene is cheapened by having all the coordination of a college a cappella group. They even have the matching jackets. Anyway, the song ends and Farley gets bullied by his teammates. Then we get this confusing scene with Eve. He makes like he's about to confess the feels, but instead calls his parents the dorkwads they are. Eve says his parents are dope, which they are decidedly not, says his cologne offends her allergies, and that he forgot her birthday.
Again, what is this movie trying to be? Is it supposed to be the oddball fitting in story, or is it the small town kid becomes really famous and becomes an asshole story? I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't have your protagonist be both a sympathetic, hapless dweeb in need of maturity and a narcissistic asshole who needs to be grounded at the same time. It's just convoluted storytelling. Everyone around Farley is just so cartoonishly set in their ways. Eve is terrified of everything. His parents are idiots. The Blades are just a violent mob, which, if they're in juniors, why are they even that violent? Why is there even that much fighting? They're saying that Farley could go #1 overall in the NHL draft. So why is it a big deal when the 3 best players that I can think of the last 50 years have never, and I mean never, had to drop the gloves before in their lives?
And to top it off, when he tries to talk to his parents and assert his individuality and have a conversation about truly what is right or wrong, his parents just keep repeating, ordinary boy.
But hockey being boorish and absurd. Newsflash, I don't want to be like you when I grow up. Elitism and arrogance just...
He's not ordinary. The #1 pick in the draft is extraordinary. They really are communists. They're trying to tether an exceptional talent for the sake of their beliefs. Every single character in this movie is gratingly repugnant. Marco tries hitting on Eve with a Dan Hill song. Eve calls him on his BS by singing the rest of it to prove that he didn't write it. Yeah, he's one of those guys on the college green claiming that he wrote Wonderwall to trick freshman girls.
You didn't write that.
Assurdo, of course Marco did.
I wanna hold you till I die, till we both break down and cry. I wanna hold you till the fear in me subsides.
Anyway, Farley starts to walk in and Marco kisses her. Oh god, we're doing this! The fake out that's in literally every romantic movie ever. Christ, when you're ripping off Flintstone's Viva Rock Vegas, you've got a problem. Eve and Farley argue how else via song, and at the next game, Farley drops the gloves and is really good at it. So people should probably stop picking on him now, right? Right? Stop messing with him? Maybe stop picking on him? While everyone else rejoices, and we're reminded that Nelly Furtado was in this movie and clearly was only on set for one day, Farley sulks and quits the team. The hero has lost his way. God, we're really crawling to the finish line here. The next few songs are so boring. He discovers Eve rejected Marco, his parents apologize, he sulks and sulks and sulks, and God, we still have 15 more minutes somehow. He goes to the rink alone and is visited by the ghost of Walter Gretzky, Wayne Gretzky's dad. Screw it, okay, yeah, makes sense to me, the ghost of a man who isn't dead and isn't actually a player or a coach. Cool, yeah, makes sense to me. Any other random shit you want to throw my way?
We all know hockey's the best sport on the planet.
The old Flurry singing, what can he do, damn it?
Okay, well, if ever there was a sign to shut things down, that's it. Closing time. We're wrapping everything up here.
Farley and Eve get together in the world's most boring love duet, both musically and, I can't say cinematically, that implies this qualifies as cinema. It isn't. Farley returns to the team, but the coach won't take him back.
Can I say something?
Really, right now?
I mean, we're so close to the credits.
They take the ice against the same team in the same rink for the 3rd time. I mean, how much more obvious can we get with the lack of budget here, guys? Come on.
Get off this ice unless you wanna feel my wrath. Back off and let him try to forge a new hockey path.
It's okay, I can handle this misplaced aggression. Let's have an on-ice therapy session.
He gets challenged to a fight and actually drops the gloves, but instead of punching, this somehow is better? Yeah, this one shot of the broadcaster pretty much sums it up.
Okay, truce. I won't make you drop the gloves.
Anyone else care to take a run at me? Be forewarned, I will hug you till eternity.
Finally, we get to the final song, the one used in all the trailers, the "We're all in this together" number. It sucks. I mean, it's catchy, Nelly Furtado has her third and fourth lines of the movie, but it's more just repeating the word hockey and we are Canadian and awkward dancing, because moving on ice is kinda hard, and you shouldn't have a musical dance number on ice unless you're adequately trained and appropriately staffed, which, this movie isn't. It really isn't.
So what have we learned today, kids? No, really, what have we learned? We've traveled such a short distance in such a long amount of time.
This movie is a mess. I sincerely don't know who it's for. There are rare moments of self-awareness and, I dare say, comedy. That one shot of the line brawl as a ballet admittedly did get a laugh out of me, but those moments can be counted on one hand, and there are gaping chasms between them. It isn't funny enough to be a comedy, it isn't sincere enough to be a real sports movie or a teen romance, it isn't well made enough to be a legitimate feature film, and it isn't campy enough to be some kind of Canadian TV high school musical, which is perhaps its biggest sin.
If it leaned into how silly it was with clever dialogue or songs that were kind of in like a Mel Brooksy kind of style, maybe it could have been pulled off. But this movie is fighting an uphill battle that no one asked to fight. There's a fundamental lack of grandeur in any of this. It's not lit well, it's not choreographed well, the sets are bland. It's all just very contrived and phoned in, especially in the lyrics department. These are some of the worst musical lyrics I've ever heard. The 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee rhymes family with mammally, and even that Dr. Seuss nonsense is better than any of the horse manure that was put in this movie. It's all too apparent that this was just a massive undertaking of one dude, Michael McGowan, who wrote, directed, produced, and crafted the lyrics for this movie. He needed help with this, and if you can believe it, this was the first and last time he worked on a musical project. Shocking, I know. McGowan even said that he didn't think most of his lyrics would stay in. Musical supervisor Jody Calero said, quote, "Wow, you can't say that. You can't land on that syllable." And yet they did it anyway, and they shot this movie in 25 days. It's really hard to film a good movie musical in 25 days. This movie had a budget of $5.2 million, plus another $1 million spent promoting it. And yet it earned just $250,000 at the box office in its first 2 weeks. I'll say this, I do feel especially bad for Noah Reid, who gives an earnest performance in every sense of the word. But his songs in particular are so meandering and random that they feel like they were written 5 minutes before they started shooting. There are times where even he looks like he doesn't know how the song goes. There isn't an original bone in this movie's body. In fact, there are no bones in this movie whatsoever. It's about as skeletally structured as an amoeba. I could see this appealing to young kids, young kids, if this was done right. But it isn't. It's just pitiful. Not only that, there's this incongruous underbelly to it with parts that are just genuinely unpleasant and violent and even vulgar and revealing. The guy's in his underwear, my god. It's just a confused, jumbled, botched execution from beginning to end. The whole thing plays like it's a Saturday Night Live sketch. Like, the whole time, I was expecting, like, Kenan Thompson to come out from around the corner and joke like, hey, remember the Mighty Ducks? Black people don't like hockey. They cut to, like, the Chance the Rapper sketch and everything. Everyone has a good laugh, and it ends, and we get the laugh track going. But it just keeps going and going and going, and it drags so badly in the second half. Once you get past like the 15-minute mark and you realize, oh my god, we have another 90 minutes of this. If your kid wants to watch something hockey related, put on D2. If your kid wants to watch something musical, put on literally anything by Disney. Anything will do. I will say this. If you are an adult and you enjoy ironic movie viewings, you need to check this out. This is so bizarre and goofy and wrong that honestly you'll probably get a pretty good laugh out of it. But otherwise, this should stay on the bench where it belongs. This is, without a doubt, the worst sports movie ever.
Thanks for watching Sports Movie Madness. If you have a movie that you want me to review, tweet at CaseyBryant51. Make sure you subscribe for more content and, I don't know, do whatever else you do on the internet.